Hello and welcome to this, which I believe is your first video lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be learning about the rule of three, how that's been used historically, and how we can use it in comedy. So let's get started. So as human beings, what we look for all the time are patterns. We really like to see patterns. Sometimes you might look at a tree and you go, oh, that looks like a face. It's because we're trying to make patterns with our brain. But the smallest number of things to create a sequence and to make that feel like a pattern is three. So if you have the first thing that establishes the pattern, the second thing reinforces that, and then the third thing can either disrupt in the form of comedy or consolidate that pattern for other reasons. So that's why it's three. So using three things creates that conciseness, that brevity. It's condensing it to the smallest amount that we need. We don't want to spend half an hour going through 10 different things to try and make a pattern when we can do that with just three things. That could refer to three events, three characters, or three words. Okay, so it could be as simple as that. Creates a pattern, creates rhythm as well. We're going to have a look at how it creates rhythm now. So in advertising slogans, three is used all the time. Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, pop. The Olympics, faster, higher, stronger, and we've all heard see it, say it, sorted. This makes it more memorable. It creates that pattern and that rhythm in our brains that makes it kind of stick there. This is similar to Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Too much, too little, just right, that three. Or even Charles Dickens used this in A Christmas Carol where Scrooge was visited by three different ghosts. So we've got that usage of three coming quite a lot. Now, threes make a pattern. So it could be three events. One thing happens, another thing happens which enforces an expectation, and the comedy comes from the third thing disrupting that pattern. We want it to all be the same, but it doesn't. That creates comedy or humor. It could be three people. The first two are normal, not that normal people exist, but they kind of feel like normal people. Third one is completely stereotyped or a little bit strange. And the comedy and humor come from the disruption, something that we are not expecting. So here's an example from The Vicar of Dibley, which is a classic comedy program. So the vicar and her new boyfriend are walking through the country lanes having a nice romantic walk. It's been raining and she jumps in a puddle and they laugh. He jumps in a puddle and they laugh. That's creating a pattern that they jump in the puddles and it's lovely. Now, when she goes to jump in the third puddle, she falls all the way down to her neck and she is in the puddle and she's gone all the way down into it. Now, that would be a funny joke on its own, but because we've established this rule of three and we've established this is what happens when you jump in a puddle, it disrupts the pattern, so it makes us laugh because we're expecting something else. Now, is it going to do the thing? Apparently not. Here's a small joke for you. So it's really cold and Betty is running home from school. She comes across a small patch on the pavement that is really icy, and she's really careful and she's really cautious when she crosses it, and she gets across with no problem at all. Now the next day she comes across this icy patch again, and she decides she doesn't need to be as careful as before, but she's still a little bit careful and she gets across fine. Now on the third day, she's running home from school. She gets to this icy patch. She thinks, oh, I've done this so many times before. This is not a problem. And she gets halfway across, skipping across the icy pavement, and she falls over flat on her face. Now, I'm not saying this is the funniest joke in the world, but again, we've got that idea of a pattern has been established. She can get across the road, she can get across the road, she falls over. We're disrupting the pattern that we've created. It's also almost always funny when someone falls over. That's just a fact, sorry, but it's true. We can also use this in terms of characters. So a butcher, a baker, and the King of England sit on a train. Now, the butcher is probably going to be quite a normal person. The baker is probably going to be quite a normal person. But the King of England might be expecting different things to happen. Maybe he doesn't know what's on the train. Maybe he wants a butler to come and serve him tea. All of these things create comedy because it's not following the set pattern. So, in summary, the rule of three establishes an expectation, reinforces that expectation, and then breaks that expectation. In history, it's been used in slogans and adverts, and comedy comes from disrupting what we expect is going to happen. So remember, if you haven't made any notes, go back, watch this again, and make some notes. Make sure you're bringing those to the next lesson. On Teams, there will be a link to the scene from The Vicar of Dibley. Excuse me. If you want to watch that, it's only a couple of 20, 30 seconds long, but that really shows how they use the rule of three. There's also an article that you may choose to read, which tells you a little bit more about it as well. Looking forward to seeing how you use the rule of three in your next lesson. Bye-bye.